I want to start just with a brief introduction, and then I will pass the word to Karian to start with the presentation, and then I will follow. So welcome here. Thank you for coming. We were planning this meeting for the end of the last year, but then it showed up that there were people who wanted to come but weren't able in that terms, so we had to postpone it. And I hope it was for a better, because we instead of discussing one topic are now discussing three. And I hope we will, after the swift presentations, one from Norway and one from Czech Republic, we will have some interesting discussion. Feel free to write down your questions or remarks or comments to chat or Q&As during the presentations. And I want to thank to all the participants for their willingness to share. I would like to thank Anne for organizational help, and Veronika for technical support, and also to Ani Petrak for translation. So let's get started. And I will pass my word to Karian, and I ask you to start with the presentation from your side. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope my presentation will be swift, as you say, and I'll try to share it. Can you all see my presentation now? Ann-Berit is shaking her head, so let's see. How about now? Do you see it? Good, thank you. Thumbs up. So, my name is not Heidi Hovemon, that was on the program, but my name is Karianne Aam, and I'm head of section, the section Library and Society at the County Library in Viken. And I will try to get this presentation going. In Viken County, we have 51 municipalities and about 1.2 million citizens. And we surround the capital of Oslo. We have 51 public libraries and 58 libraries in upper secondary school, in addition to over 100 school libraries and libraries in university and college. And I'm also using a manuscript since I took over this presentation yesterday. So forgive me if I look down sometimes. The county library does not have a government role, but it works in close collaboration with the municipal libraries, as well as the National Library in Norway. According to the Norwegian Library Act, we will work with regional library development and take care of regional library tasks. So typical tasks for us are to give advice to the libraries and the municipalities, carry out projects in collaboration with the libraries and the municipalities, and we are also responsible for offering courses and seminars for library employees and staff. So I will focus on the following topics: IFLA's work with the ST goals, the work from the Norwegian Library Association to make visible the library's efforts, the national work and expectations from the government in Norway on the ST goals. And last, I will talk about how we work with the ST goals in Viken County and how and why the libraries contribute. IFLA laid the foundation for important sustainability goals to be set in connection with libraries' activities. And so in August of 2015, after more than 3 years of negotiations with stakeholders, including IFLA, the member state of the United Nations agreed to a final version of the post-2015 development agenda, now known as the 2030 agenda. This agenda was adopted by world leaders in September 2015 at a historic UN summit. So IFLA's starting point was that libraries are key institutions for achieving the goals. IFLA was actively involved with the creations of the UN 2030 agenda, advocating for the inclusion to access to information, safeguarding of cultural heritage, universal literacy, and access to information and communication technologies. And IFLA's consistent position is that access to information is essential to achieving the SDGs, and that libraries are not only key partners, but already contributing to progress towards achieving the 17 goals. And so, on behalf of the libraries in Norway, the Norwegian Library Association participated in this work. Among other things, the Norwegian libraries were challenged to describe how their work could contribute to achieving the sustainability goals. And the result was visualized through a virtual map. And as an indirect reason, the library's efforts to achieve the sustainability goals were also mentioned in the National Library Strategy for the period 2020 to 24. And this gives us a good starting point for working further with the goals. The UN sustainability goals are a key political track in Norway. Every 4 years, the government presents national expectations for regional and municipal planning to promote sustainable development throughout the whole country. The national expectations will be followed up in the county municipalities, and municipalities work with planning strategies and plans, and will be used as a basis for state authorities participating in planning. And so for the period 2019 till 23, the government emphasizes 4 major challenges: to create a sustainable welfare society, to create an ecologically sustainable society through an offensive climate policy and sound resource management, and also to create a socially sustainable and safe society for all. Viken was established as a county in 2020. So throughout that first year, we worked to develop a regional planning strategy. Regional planning strategy is the central process for designing new goals and strategies for the Viken community and Viken County municipality. It's the most important overall political management tool for social development, and it determines which regional plans are to be prepared. Regional plans presuppose cooperation between counties, municipalities, education, business, and other relevant partners. And it also presupposes that we have a clear understanding of the region's challenges and opportunities and how we implement the sustainability goals in the regional context. And so in this work, the county library and the libraries have tried to highlight the libraries as important contributors. Therefore, in 2021, the County Council decided that a regional strategy for library development was to be made. And so the County Council passed that strategy by approving it in December of 2021. The libraries in Viken are cultural arenas, arenas for knowledge and meeting places, which are all based on a democratic platform where everyone has a right to information and knowledge. And by developing the libraries in the intersection of culture, education, lifelong learning, public health, and social work, it will contribute to an including, democratic, and sustainable society. This was the starting point for the strategy, and it had three priorities: children and youth, sustainable libraries, and competence in information literacy and dissemination of literature. This strategy is a tool in strengthening the regional library development. In developing the strategy, cooperation and empowerment were essential. So there were workshops, both digital and physical, where different groups had their say on what is important. The county library had digital meetings with all the public libraries, and there was a more formal hearing on the strategy. An important premise for the coming work, setting the strategy in action, is that both we and the library in the municipalities can think strategically and work interdisciplinary to achieve the goals we've set ourselves. And so in the following, I will show you the goals of the strategy and a few examples of strategies to gain those goals. And as you see, the SDGs are in Norwegian, and you can ask me if you don't remember, but hopefully the illustrations will also will help you remember what the goals are. But the first goal says the libraries in Viken creates more and better readers, and the county will have a strategy to do so by contribute to good access to literature for children and youth, and prioritize competence in dissemination of literature aimed for children and youth. The next goal is that the libraries contribute to more people learning for life, and will do so by contributing to libraries stimulating citizens to critical thinking and knowledge sharing, as an example. The third goal says that the libraries promote equality, community, and public health, and the county will contribute to libraries stimulating citizens to actively participate in society. And as you see, all the goals and strategies are followed by SDGs. The last goal is the libraries participate in developing society, and will do so by contributing to libraries being independent meeting places that strengthen local democracy, and also, for example, further develop the culture for sharing in libraries. And so, for an example on how the county and public libraries work to promote libraries as sustainable resources in local communities, I will end this presentation with a campaign. The goal for this campaign is to highlight the variety of services the libraries can offer to increase use of the libraries in Viken County. Cooperation and co-creation with the libraries have been required in making this campaign. A professional marketing team visited a few libraries and asked what services they have that support sustainability. Our starting point in front of this campaign is that libraries are sustainability. Library services are based on sharing and reuse. Book lending or lending of a variety of equipment are examples of how libraries support this. Democratic access to information, cultural heritage, literature, literacy, and open access are all elements in achieving the SD goals. And we also wanted to make our citizens proud of their libraries. We wanted more visitors and patrons, and least, but also important, we wanted to show library owners and politicians what a gem of a resource libraries are. And so these are examples from sharing the campaign on social medias. The campaign was also shown on digital screens in all the dental clinics in the county, where a diversity of the population in the county go for dental care. And I've tried to translate the messages. The libraries could choose to use the text we had made or make their own text and tell about what they specifically could offer their citizens. This sums up the reach, engagement, reactions, comments, and sharings on all the messages on Facebook. We had paid marketing on Facebook for several of the messages and ads, and in addition to that, the libraries shared the campaign. So as an example, 35 out of our 51 public libraries used their Facebook pages to share the campaign. And so to the why in the summary, why libraries are achieving the goals. The sustainability goals challenge us to think strategic about how libraries can contribute, but just as much about how we must be able to communicate our work to both the public and decision makers. And therefore we need knowledge of the needs of the citizens, and we have to be willing to change the services of the libraries. And with that, I say, I'm done, and thank you.
And now we will continue with Eliška presentation.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Okay. Yes, I will share the screen, which also worked a few minutes before, so I expect it's not gonna work anymore. Can you see the presentation, please?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so it looks like it works great then. So my name is Eliška Bartošová, and I work at the project, the Czech Libraries Association, a strategic partner for libraries in Czech Republic, which is funded from Norwegian funds. I'm also a member of working group Sustainability in Libraries and a member of the expert group Eblida Elsia. I will try to explain, to say a few words about how we were what we did to establish sustainable development goals in the Czech librarianship. Great. The library development concept, which will be discussed later, is planned for the years 2021 to 2027 with the prospect to 2030, because it's directly linked to this strategic framework, Czech Republic 2030, which is the basic document for state administration for sustainable development and the improving the quality of life of the population. It covers the topics people and society, economic model, resilient ecosystems, municipalities and regions, global development, good governance. And to be honest, and it's, as we heard before, a little bit different than in Norway, in the whole system of governance, it doesn't have the position and the importance and resources it deserves. As you can see on the picture, it's directly linked to the UN Sustainable Development Goals that are present in the Czech Republic through the UN Information Center in Prague. And the UN Information Center in Prague is there since the very beginning, as one of the first branches was founded on 1947. And given that the topics SDGs covers are of crucial importance for the whole society, it is also a little bit underestimated. So in the 2019, a group of people interested in environmental and other sustainability issues met the UN Information Center in Prague. Officer in charge, Michal Broža, you can see him on the picture on the very left. And this is how the Sustainability in Libraries informal working group was established, basically. You can see that we are going a bit bottom up. Nobody's asking libraries to embrace SDGs. We are the ones who are active and who are making effort to get libraries into the strategic documents of Czech government. And since the very beginning, we were working with the hypothesis that libraries already are contributing to SDGs by definition, not only as IFLA is stating that they provide access to information that is crucial for all the other SDGs to be fulfilled, but also in helping reducing social inequalities, contributing to quality of life, reducing consumption and saving resources, as we heard before, by lending books and of course some other equipments, and also being a place where people can just be and spend quality time instead of, for example, browsing in supermarkets. We also knew that some libraries already do various activities, even in the environmental field and nature protection. There are swaps being held in libraries, fair trade breakfast, seeds exchange. In Strakonice Library, they for several years already, they have a eco consultancy place and they publish magazine called Compost. So we knew that there are activities in libraries already present. And we strongly believed that libraries can deepen and broaden their contribution to SDGs even more. And that for this, they will need some support, some information, maybe some know-how, some inspiration. But honestly, we were a bit surprised in a very positive way, of course, that our survey that we conducted at the beginning of the project, or the beginning of our work in summer 2019, we got almost 350 replies from libraries of all sizes that were somehow interested in the topics of sustainable development. Then, thanks to the support of the Czech Republic Libraries Association and also Association of Library and Information Professionals in Czech Republic, the sustainability was appointed to be the issue for 2021 and 2022 as a main communication topic for libraries, something that throughout the whole librarianship will resonate and will be discussed. So we were, with this support also, we were able to start to run activities to promote the topic, to embrace it. And at the beginning, we were focused on building capacities of libraries to be able then later in 2022, this year, to bring the topic to their users and communities. So in 2021, the last year, 38 libraries through a year-long online educational cycle gained some insights into the sustainable development topics and some other questions around some other topics, with more than 30 different experts together with librarians during the webinars, which we did 7 webinars and 3 practical workshops. And we were trying to put these topics in the context of libraries and their communities and explore ways to practically implement them into activities and programs for the users, and also to implement them into strategies of those libraries, into strategic documents. At the final international online conference, there were 25 organizations who offered libraries tested tools and publications and manuals and cookbooks that they can use immediately and free of charge, and also offered a partnership in doing so. We also produced a knowledge base in Trello. We established some communication channels and collaborations, and we promoted the topic through some articles and speeches at the conference. So this way we wanted to empower libraries to become pioneers of sustainable development topics in their communities. For this year, we prepared some materials and some support that enable libraries to do and to communicate the activities connected to SDGs under the brand, under one campaign that has the hashtag sustainability in libraries, and has some visual materials and some pictures and some posters. So they are able to connect their activities to the one message that is the same for all the libraries in the Czech Republic. Our main goal for this year is focused on collecting and sharing these examples of good practice in libraries. We use the website What Library Can Do, which is the map of inspiration and good practice in Czech libraries. And we also want to turn some of the successful examples of activities into the manuals, into the cookbooks that other libraries are able to use. For which we want to professionalize our website so that it will serve as a knowledge center, as a place where anybody who wants to embrace SDGs in their library will find inspiration, know-how, manuals, tested tools, contacts, and so on. And we are also watching for some grant opportunities that would inspire and empower some further development of the topic in libraries, because what we still believe, libraries are contributing to SDGs, and the SDGs are integral part of Czech librarianship. And they not only contribute, but they're able to show it and inspire others. Somehow we appeared, we are on the IFLA, on the 7th IFLA Green Library Award 2022 long list in the category Best Green Library Project. So please cross your fingers for us. And also, if you have any questions, remarks, please don't hesitate to ask now or later. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Eliška. What's next?
The next topic is the library concept, and wait for me a little bit.
So I can't see any questions. There is nothing in chat, nothing in Q&A. So if we can continue, and maybe you find some questions later.
Yeah,
so the next, too.
Yeah, so the next topic is the library development strategy, which will present first Anne and then Tomáš Řehák. I ask Anne Berry to take up the space.
Yes. Hello there. I'll try to share a PowerPoint with you. Can you see it?
Yes, perfect.
Good. I'll also try to find out how I change this.
Try arrows, down, down, down.
No. I'll try it again, just a moment. Do you see anything now?
Presentation.
Do you see any presentation?
Yes, yes, I can see your presentation. So,
oh, there, now it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
On Berit, it's not in presentation mode. Det er ikke i presentasjonsmodus.
Du skjønner, det er det hos meg. But it doesn't really matter. For jeg har satt det i presentasjonsmodus hos meg.
Du har kanskje 2 skjermer, sånn at det blir...
Nei. I'll try again. Now you can see it. But now I can't change the different... I'm afraid I have to... It's not going to be in presentation mode, but it doesn't really matter. The important thing is that you see something.
Maybe I can ask you for a remote control that I will control your presentation and I will try it. Could we try it this way? I'm going to ask you. I'm sent a request to Anne.
There you are.
Yes, and I will. Okay, I will try it. I don't know what's. Okay, I will try this. No, what's a presentation in from the beginning?
This is the first.
First, Phil.
Oh, okay.
No, it's okay.
Home, yeah. Go to the right.
Yes.
Set in time. If you go to where it says lysbildefremvisning.
Yes.
Yes, there. And then
this one. Again,
no,
definer.
the one. Yes, that's the one. Yes.
As you can see,
Du må aktiver redigering oppe i den gule linja der.
Yeah, you understood.
It doesn't work. Sorry, it doesn't work.
As you can see, this is also a workshop of a Zoom.
If you go back to that presentation again.
Please, and could you open it again?
Yeah, now I think it's going to work. If you go to that lysbildefremvisning.
Det kan man gjøre her nede, helt til høyre.
Ja. Yes.
Sånn. Ser dere nå lysbildefremvisninger?
Nei.
Nei.
But I think the screen is probably big enough for us to see it like you share it now.
So the best way is probably just to continue as it is now.
Okay.
Okay, I'll start. My name is Berit Hultin and I work as the Secretary General at the Norwegian Library Association. I'll talk about the National Library Strategy of Norway, the facts, the main topics, how to implement the goals, and in the end, I'll have some thoughts on how libraries must work in challenging times. So first, some facts. Our National Library Strategy is for the period of 2020 till 2023. It has been extended for 1 more year until 2024, and of course that's due to the pandemic. The National Strategy is developed by our National Library, the Ministry of Culture and the Ministry of Education. And for the first time, the strategy includes all kinds of libraries, public libraries, school libraries, and academic and research libraries. The strategy is titled A Space for Democracy and Self-Cultivation. This refers to libraries as an important part of the democratic infrastructure and to public education. Since the strategy was launched, there is a new government, and the Minister of Culture has announced a revision of the strategy, but we don't know when or how. Goals for this strategy is to further develop libraries as relevant and important knowledge institutions that will contribute to public enlightenment and self-cultivation in the population. Goals we all can agree upon. The strategy is first and foremost a strategy for the National Library. Its policy and plans are for the library work. The three main topics in the strategy are dissemination, cooperation and development, and infrastructure. The first topic, dissemination. I have to say that this word in English was not familiar to me, but it's about, I guess the Czech translation is okay, but it's about communicating library collection and activities. Anyway, the National Library will each year announce funding for active communicating library content to boost reading, attract new users, increase the borrowing of both physical and digital material from the collections, and develop methods for digital dissemination. Our National Library is very much a library, function as a library on their own. They, for example, hosts events. And as a part of their goals for dissemination, the National Library will further develop their websites and focus on National Library's own collection, their different kind of events, seminars, research, etc., through streaming, and they will also stream events held by other libraries.
And
yes,
sorry to interrupt you, but we can see the first slide only. We can't see you changing slides.
Okay, we'll try again.
But we already tried.
You should have come 20 minutes before we started.
Yeah, as like we said before this webinar, it's going to be 30 minutes of technical problem.
Now you're on the right slide.
Yeah. Now we could see it.
And,
okay.
Now I can't see it. And now I can see it.
Because I can't change between the different slides now. That's the problem.
Hvis du tar musa over og klikker med musa på den.
Ja.
Ja. Men nå går du gjennom hele veldig fort.
Ja. There we are. Now everybody can see, and you can see the change, right?
Yes, yes.
Good. This PowerPoint will be available for everyone afterwards if anyone needs it. Well, I'll continue. Cooperation and development. The National Library will use project funding to stimulate new areas of cooperation, develop cooperation between public libraries and libraries in higher education, and motivate for new ways and new models for corporations in libraries. There will also be grants for developing school libraries. Infrastructure. The National Library will work to increase the digital material and computer games that the libraries can access. The National Library will, through joint forces with institutions of higher education, secure access to documents and metadata for libraries. They will establish a national vault of metadata and thereby constitute the only authorized source of metadata. And they will hold seminars and conferences to provide knowledge. According to the strategy, the main innovation and development in libraries must be driven by the libraries themselves. It is the libraries themselves who need to take the initiative and find innovating projects, investigate new ways of cooperation, new ways to attract public, etc., and then apply for project funding. The central government, the National Library, will facilitate and make good framework conditions for library development as project funding and increase access to digital content for libraries. Libraries at all are positive to the strategy, and especially to the joint forces from the two ministries, culture and education. Libraries are also very positive to the focus on cooperation between different types of libraries. Some libraries have pointed out that not only cooperation between libraries, but also cooperation between other local public services are important. Some libraries say they need further help on innovation and development. Most libraries in Norway are small and they don't have the resources to promote innovation and development on their own. Some libraries also say they need more help to develop and promote a new library identity. People still refer to libraries as a place only for lending books, a place to be quiet, to read, and someone even think that there is no need of libraries anymore because of internet and Google. All in all, libraries are positive to the strategy and all assistance from the national level, so they may concentrate on the library users, the public. So some thoughts about libraries in challenging times. To the invitation to this webinar, it says the world is not returning to normal, and we may agree on that. EBLIDA, the European Library and Information Organization, say in their strategic plan, libraries must engage in taking care of people and their rights. The pandemic and the war in Ukraine really shows us the need of a reliable source of information for the public. The first casualty of war is said to be the truth. Libraries need to ensure that information is free and accessible. A group of researchers is linked to the library education in Oslo made a study on how Norwegian libraries handled the lockdown during the pandemic. They concluded that there were both little interest and little knowledge about how libraries should play their part in time of crisis and emergencies. Many library employees called for better coordination and lack of guidelines from the authorities. The study also showed that during the pandemic, the authorities' awareness and understanding of the library's social role during crisis changed, especially with regard to children and young people. There will be other crises, climate, finance, refugee crisis, crisis that addresses the great differences in the world. And the library field must discuss experiences and lessons learned with regard to the library's role in crisis, how libraries may play a key role in preventing communities from falling apart and to be more fragmented. It is an opportunity to discuss if libraries may play an important part in local emergency plans. The Royal Library in Sweden freshly proposed for the Swedish library strategy that libraries are a natural part of the country's civil defense and should have an important role in crisis. If we have the same ambitions for the library sector in Norway, And in the Czech Republic, we must claim this role and discuss how the sector's organization, communication, and leadership can be equipped for such a task. Thank you. And I'll just say that the Norwegian library strategy exists in English. So if you want to have a further look at it, it's possible. Thank you.
And Annie, do you have questions or something in your mind, because your hand is up? Okay. Any questions? In chat, I can't see. In the Q&A, nothing. Annie, do you need a water or something? Okay, we will wait. Yes, of course.
Thank you, and we will send the link or probably the link to the strategy to all the colleagues, together with slides and presentations from today's meeting. Thank you for your speech. And in case there are no questions or comments or remarks, I would like to ask Tomáš de Haag to follow with his presentation. What's more punk than the translated webinar on the Zoom?
Do you see the presentation? Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Annie is returning now.
Yeah, I'm waiting for her. Okay, Annie, are you ready? Okay, I will start. First of all, I have to say that when Eliška said that I should continue with my presentation, that's not true, because it's her presentation. She prepared her. I'm just a guy who is to speak about it. So you may find out that I am not the best one, but I will try. I'm about to present the strategy of the Czech libraries, or the concept, or whatever we call it, which I was part of the team preparing, because it was prepared by what we call Central Library Board of the Czech Republic. And here I probably have to say a few words about the Czech library landscape, because it's rather complicated and not so easy to maintain any common strategic projects. First of all, we have a really high number of libraries. We are usually said that we have a highest number of libraries per capita in the whole world. That's because, like France, for example, we have a lot of municipalities. We have really a huge number of municipalities. We have, if I remember well, some 7,500 municipalities for 10 million people. Unbelievable. We have municipalities with 5 inhabitants. We have towns with 30 inhabitants. And they have a status as a town. That's historical, and that's how it is. And in 1919, so a little bit more than a century ago, there was a first library act adopted in Czechoslovakia at that time, which said that any political municipality has to have a library. That law wasn't ever fulfilled to the full. So there were municipalities without any library, but actually most of the municipalities opened some kind of a library. In many cases, for the small municipalities, it was, of course, very small libraries. quite frequently nothing more than just one room in a village center. And that law was changed, and the obligation to run a library was dismantled, if I remember well, in 50s or so. But of course, most of those libraries survived today. So we now have 5,500 libraries, something like that, for 10 million people, for 10 million inhabitants. So that's the first thing we have to take into account. The second thing, which is important, that there is a very small financial support for libraries from the national or central level. For example, for my library, the Municipal Library of Prague, which is the biggest public library, any grants or project money from the national level are less than 1% of our budget. More than 90% of our budget are covered by the city, and some 10% of our budget are more or less our own income from what we do. And roughly that's the same for the most libraries. Also, in the National Library Act, there is no power given to the national authorities, Ministry of Culture, who is responsible for the library system, has actually no power for municipal libraries in the country. So they have no money to influence what's going on, and they have no authority to influence what's going on. So any kind of cooperation has to be grusra. It has come from the bottom. It has to be negotiation between the library managers. Hey, we want to establish such and such project. There is and now I'm going to the Central Library Board, which is appointed by the Ministry of Culture. It's some 30 people, and it's advisory board for the Ministry of Culture. However, at the same time, part of a independent communication coordinating body, which more or less represents the library community. But it's not an association like we are, the Association of Libraries, or the other association, which is the Association of Librarians. It's really established from top, but it has some authority because, for example, it's responsible to prepare for the Ministry of Culture the national strategy, which is a governmental document. It's adopted by the central national government as an official governmental paper, and it's put into the archives, and it's sent to all municipalities and regions with a strong recommendation. Please follow up the strategy, try to contribute to it, support implementation of that. But again, no power, no authority, and no money to do that. So it's pretty voluntary. However, as you will see, it's quite going on in a way. It was agreed by the government in August 2020. So it was already at the beginning of the pandemic 2 years, or after the first quarter of the pandemic 2 years. But I have to say that the whole strategy was prepared before the COVID pandemic. So it doesn't reflect that change. And of course, it doesn't reflect contemporary war in Ukraine. It's not the first strategy which was prepared that way. At least two predecessing, two strategies before this one were prepared the same way. So they were prepared by the Central Library Board and then adopted by the government. So it's sort of a follow-up of those strategies, especially the last one, which was 2017 to 2020. It was quite a short one. This one is 2020 to 27 with vision based to 2030. So the plan is 2020 to 27, while the vision is looking towards the year 2030. And the main, and I have to say that the rather new idea of this strategic plan or strategy is that the libraries are, as the header for this slide said, pillars of the civil society, education, and culture. Therefore, we first said that we have three equally important functions: cultural function, educational function, and civic function. And that's rather new, because for many years in this country, as you said in your presentation just a few minutes before, many people, and unfortunately many politicians as well, see libraries as book lending institutions. Hey, you are supposed to lend out books and do that, and well, yeah, we expect you to do that, and what else you want? And because a book is part of culture, so you are cultural institutions, you belong to Ministry of Culture. Do not speak about education, that's a different ministry. So it's not, and the civic, hey, the Ministry of Inferior, that's completely different story. Do not interfere what you are not expected to go into. So we said, no. Yeah, we belong to the Ministry of Culture, and Ministry of Culture actually sent this paper to the central government, but we are deeply rooted in all those three positions. We are pillars of the cultural society, as well as we are pillars of the well-educated society, as well as we are pillars of the democratic society with civic involvement. And we want to work on all those three areas, or maybe those are not three areas, they are three different points of view to the same thing. So let's start with the democracy or the civil society. And of course, that's also about the community role of the libraries. We see library as a natural center of the community, any kind of community, being very small or very large. And we say that the facility of the library, the physical premises, has to be part of the public space. It has to be part of, it has to be third place. It has to be part of the civic infrastructure. It has to be part of what society keeps together. It's a meeting point. It's a point where the people can tie the connection, that they can meet each other, they can get acquainted, they can become friends, or they can start to cooperate on whatever they think is important. So we want the libraries to be an important part of the civic infrastructure of any kind of community. But that's not only about libraries, a physical space. It's also about the activities, like what we are actually in this meeting are speaking about, like trying to involve the whole society into sustainable development goals. That's actually part of being pillars of the civil society. We want to have programs which attract people to participate in public governance. We want to have programs which persuade people to be active citizens in all meanings of that word. And what you said in your presentation from the Norway point, we have to think about the libraries as a part of the infrastructure of resilience of the society. Just a small example, again, from our own library. When the war at Ukraine started, 24 of February, a lot of refugees from the Ukraine moved to the West. I don't know if there are many in Norway, but we already have some 300,000 refugees from Ukraine here because, well, we are close by. We are close by the borders. And they started to come actually 28, 29 of February. And it was, I think, Sunday, I think 29 of February. I don't remember if it was Sunday. It might be 1st of March. I don't remember exactly. It was Sunday afternoon. I had a phone call, and the lady on the other side said, "Hey, sorry to disturb you on the Sunday. I am director of the crisis management of the city hall." And my answer was, "Hello, are we going to open the refugee center in the library?" "Yes." "When?" "Tomorrow." "All right, we'll do that." And that was because actually 3 years before we agreed to do such things. We have an official agreement that the Central Library in Prague is part of this kind of it's a facility of this kind. It's a facility where we are expected to open a crisis center or assistance center for any kind of crisis which could emerge. And we agreed on that 3 years before. So when I received a phone call from the city hall, from the crisis management department on Sunday afternoon, it was clear what that was about. So the very first refugee center in this country was open in the library, only for 3 days, because the scale was too big for this library. But so after 3 days, it was open elsewhere on some much bigger premises. But the first 3 days, we run the center and we serve that purpose. So I think this is also important part of library strategy to do such things. And again, we agreed to do that not only before the war in Ukraine, but even before the COVID crisis, because we had a feeling, okay, this is a part of our mission. Education and supporting education and providing educational materials and so on. That's probably something I need not speak much about, because that's a traditional role of the libraries. I think everybody knows that the libraries are important part of education, except probably our Ministry of Education. But now it's changing somehow. Part of our strategy was, hey, we want Ministry of Education and Ministry of Culture to sign a formal agreement which recognize libraries being important part of both formal and informal education. And that actually happened. The agreement was signed last year. And we are now directly speaking with the Ministry of Education and trying to persuade them that the libraries are important infrastructure they can use, and they can use it to strengthen the educational effort, both towards the young people, but also to our which are adults for some time or have been adults for some time. And probably this second point, I mean, education of already educated, sometimes for the decades already, for the people who finished their formal education decades ago, is really the utmost important role for the libraries in their in the field of education, because supporting school education of youngsters is important, it's fine, but schools can do that as well. While I don't know how it's in Norway, but in Czech Republic, libraries are actually only one possible infrastructure for education of adults. And frankly, we who has been out of the schools for decades, we are missing some skills. We haven't been learned how to find out what's a fake news and what's true is and what true is not. And the important role of the libraries here probably couldn't be overestimated. Okay, yeah. Well, and culture, that's a traditional role of the libraries, but what is also strengthened in the strategy is that the libraries are not only now I'm missing English word, sorry for that, are not only getting cultural artifacts like books or whatever and reshare them again to the society. So it's not only about providing access to already created culture, but it's also about support creation of the new culture. It's not only about sharing already existing cultural heritage, but it's also about supporting the new cultural heritage, the cultural heritage for the forthcoming years, decades, and the centuries. Because again, libraries are actually the only one infrastructure for supporting the creativity, which is a nationwide, most countries have. So encouraging, supporting, facilitating creativity is one of the most important parts of the library mission, at least from my point of view, and the strategy says so. And those were the three pillars I had to describe. Few words about implementation. One of the things we do is sharing the best practices examples. So it's not about saying any library, hey, you should do this. It's about encouraging them, say us what you are doing. Report what were your achievements, what you managed to do, and to publish those things. There is a web page you see part of, where we can say, hey, if you want kind of inspiration, those are the projects, or the real project of the real libraries which has already been run. So do not hesitate to copy, do not hesitate to get inspired, do not hesitate to reuse. The intellectual reuse is actually part of our library genome, isn't it? So, and yes, part of that is a collaboration, like our collaboration of the Czech Library Association with Norway. We also have a new collaboration open with the German Library Association, because we are proud to be chosen as a main partner for forthcoming 3 years. But we want to collaborate with many others. And probably the very special kind of a international activity in a way is now opening. This is a page, ukrainelibraries.cz, which is all about supporting both Ukraine, but also, as I already said, there's a huge number of Ukrainian refugees in Czech Republic. So we are sharing any kind of a good experience and good practice and inspiration, what to do to support libraries, what they can do to support refugees here, but also to support Ukrainian colleagues and citizens staying there. And I have to say that the Czech libraries are really very active on that. And I'm quite proud. And yes, that's finish of Eliška's presentation I was speaking about. And thanks to our common project financed by the Norway grants, our strategy was translated into English. So there are 2 links for the Microsoft Word version, as well as PDF, which is with all the pictures and whistles and bells. So yeah, that was that, and I am ready to answer questions, or Eliška will answer, because again, she prepared the presentation. Nice one, isn't it? Okay, that's it.
Thank you very much. So it's all on me. Thank you for your speech, the presentation. I just like the pictures to have something on the screen. Thank you. If there are any comments, questions, I can't see anything. And we are, because of the technical issues, a little bit later. So if there are no questions, remarks, comments, anything, I would like to ask the other speaker to proceed with the last topic of today, which is development of reading and reading strategies. And let's again compare the situation in Norway and in Czech. And I will ask Ole Ivar to start with his presentation, with his sharing. Thank you.
Yes, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. My name is Ole. Just to keep it short, you can say I have 4 names. I work in the association READ in Norway. And we are a non-profit organization that was established in 1997. And we are funded through partners from the literature business, like publishers and so on, and the National Library from 2021. Before that, through the Art Council of Norway, and also some funding through the Directorate of Education and Training. We are a provider of literature, primarily for children and adolescents. And our goal is, shortly speaking, to inspire these age groups to read more. And to achieve that, we have different approaches. Shortly, you can say we work under 3 headlines. Let me see if I can change the picture. There. So the first one is to make literature available. In order to read, we need something to read. So the first step is therefore to have literature in different formats available for potential readers, like paper books, ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, and so on. And yearly around 1,000 books are published in Norwegian for children and youths. So we need to show the readers all kinds of books that exist, fiction and non-fiction, novels, short stories, poems, illustrated books, comics, etc. So mainly we work through schools and libraries, but also bookstores, health centers, others at sports arenas, festivals, and different public places. We have and still have, I would say, a pretty strong and well-functional literary system in Norway, giving authors and publishers a chance to create and release literature, and libraries and bookstores opportunity to promote the books for the readers. So my second point is the need to promote and establish presentations of literature in ways that inspires people to read. And we cooperate closely with librarians because we think they are the best portal into books for readers in all age groups. But we do also involve the children themselves in a lot of our work. I will get back to this, but the idea is to give them channels, an arena where they can read, write, discuss, and make conversations and publish their own opinions about the books written for them. And this method has lately been more and more normal in not just the field of literature, but also the school system. Children are more involved in the development and arrangement of learning strategies and the reception of how they experience things. Meaning children are participating in their own terms, not just as subject to adult management, if that makes sense. And what we experience when we include children is that it educates them to read with a critical point of view and to build their own meaning out of the text that they are reading. They feel that they are being taken seriously. So for us, the most important aim is not how much and how fast you can read, but what do you think about what you have read and why do you think that? It's about enjoyment for reading and entertainment, but it's also about reflections, interpretations, and how you can transform your reading experiences into your own life and the community and world you're a part of. And I want to add that if you want to read in peace, you should totally be allowed to do so. Reading is not a competition about most read pages or the fastest reader in the classroom. Third, we need to make visible and draw attention to reading role models and build a culture of reading. Kids need to see that we also like to read and that reading is a natural activity to do. It's a common thing and it's not something extraordinary. The role models can be famous people, but it can also be parents, families, teachers, librarians, neighbors, and other kids. And one important thing for us in the Association Read in this role model concept is to make readers visible, to make them public. Therefore, we do talk about reading and readers in a positive way. Most of what is written about reading, readers, especially boys, is in negative terms. Kids don't read, boys don't read, they don't read real literature, boys don't read as much as girls, and so on. This is typically sentences to read in the media and to hear when people talk about kids and reading. But we think we can manage to involve more children in reading if we talk about it in a positive way. If we can show everyone that there are children who like to read, that there are boys that enjoy reading, why they like to read, and what reading is giving them. So it's about making visible positive reading stories, a positive psychology, use it as a motivation to include others. We can't expect someone to enjoy reading if our main focus is how little and bad kids are to read. That's why we need to create a positive image about the reader, about reading and literature. And we know many like to read, so let's use them as ambassadors to get more young people on board. Each year, around 400,000 pupils, that's about 70% of the students in Norway are involved in many of our projects. On one side, we hand out free anthologies with excerpts of different books. This is to give young readers a taste of what is available. And the idea is that you're going to find something you like, but you're also going to find something you didn't know that you liked. And when you have that, have a little taste, we hope you will get inspired to read the whole book. And we work with the library, so the books are available at your local library. On the other side, we arrange different awards where young readers read whole books and are in charge of nominations, jury work, and naming a winner. I'm going to tell you about 3 different projects. The first one is the Avid Reader Award, Bokslukerprisen in Norwegian. It's a reading incentive award for grade 5th, 6th, and 7th in a Norwegian primary school. This award combines over 2 ways. First, reading of excerpts, and then reading of whole books. It's about 125,000 pupils that participate in this award each year. First, they receive anthologies of Norwegian books for the age group 10 to 12. Then they read the excerpts and they vote for the best one. Then the top 5 experts constitute the nominated books for the award. And then the next step, 15 jury classes from across the country are assigned to read the nominated books and to select a winner. And during the reading period, which is from November to March the next year, jury classes are visited by a motivational speaker who give the pupils guidance on how they can become critical readers and how they can justify their opinions. And then the award ceremony takes place around World Book Day in April with schools and author present. And the pupil also get to meet and have conversations with the nominated authors. Jury classes and the teachers are also invited to a seminar before the reading period begins. We also have our own website, bokslukerprisen.no, which provides more information, digital texts, audio files, teacher's guide, activities, and so on. This is a picture from the last week, actually. This guy in the middle there, speaking in the mic, is like a famous previous cyclist, and now a TV star in Norway. He's written a book with the guy to the left, and they won the prize. It was like 300 children in participating in this. So I jumped to the middle school TXT campaign. This is the oldest and most extensive reading campaign for middle schools in Norway. It was established in 1997, so it's 25 years old, same as the association, and has become a central part of students' encounter with Norwegian and translated contemporary literature. About 120 students participate each year, and they also receive an anthology from a variety of books available for the age group. The goal is to give them an overview over what is available, give them reading experiences there and then, but also motivate them to pick up the whole book the excerpts is collected from, and other books related to the topics and from the same author that they have read. In this campaign, it's not as strict as in the awards. It's more up to the teachers how they will organize it in their classrooms. We just give them the tools, and then they can use it as they want. We also arrange a competition in this campaign. Last year we did like a podcast competition where pupils heard 3 radio plays, and their tasks were to connect the stories to the stories in the book. And we also have our own website where you can find the text digital, you can hear audio files of the text, and you can find some bonus material for more reading, book tips, and so on. Here are some pictures. The left one is a lot of schools use this campaign to arrange their own literature week or literature festival. So this is a kickoff from one school when it was ready, set, go, and then they run into the classroom to start reading. And the picture on the right side is we have a campaign where you take a picture of yourself with the anthology in different reading situations. So this this kid, he won the whole competition. He took the picture underwater. And on the left there, you can also see each campaign has like a title. So this title in 2017 had Monster, and we released it on the library. And of course, the librarian had baked a cake, a monster cake for the kids. And they had like the picture on the right, they had like a task to build some art. Pick a story from the book and build the art, or do it with the title Monster. So you can see the children have built that. The last one I want to present to you is the Norwegian Youth Literature Award called U-prisen. This is the most famous award for youth books in Norway. It was established in 2007. Then it was like a adult jury that nominated 5 books. And it was 3 local schools in around Lillehammer, Hamar. That was the jury, but it's been developing since then. So now it's including all the regions in Norway. And it's a collaboration between Association Read and the Norwegian Festival of Literature and the Cultural Ryggsekk, the Kulturelle Skolesekken, which is a national program for art and culture. And this is now the adolescents' own award for the best teen book of the year. They are in charge of every part of the award. About 30 classes from all over Norway read and write reviews of every teenage book that has been published in the past year, Norwegian books. And then based on the reviews, which is published on uprisen.no, the website, 5 books are nominated by a jury of 5 teenagers. And then 11 jury classes from all regions in Norway are assigned to read the nominated books and select a winner. And also here during the reading period, the jury classes are visited by a professional literary critics. And in May, during the festival, a grand jury with representatives from the 11 school classes meeting and discuss and select the winner of the award. And then the award ceremony takes place during the festival with all the classes present and the nominated authors. They also get the chance to have conversations with the authors during the festivals. And in this award, we also invite the teachers to a seminar before they start to read. So it's about 1,300 reviews from youths of Norwegian teenage books every year. It's a very important prize award to win for the authors. They get attention in the media, get invited to school visiting, and then you are the next year in the festival, you are like a headline during the festivals. You got a lot of different projects to run. This is the nominated books for this award, which will be in May. These 5 kids were like they read all the reviews and they picked out the 5 books based on the reviews that they nominated to the prize. And here you can see the grand jury. In May 2021, they met to discuss and select the winner. And these are the authors that won the prize last year for a book called Arvingen, which is it's like a royal royal fiction, and it's going to be a Netflix movie as well this year. So that was my presentations. I hope you have some questions for me.
No questions.
Thank you very much. I can't see any questions. So let's maybe proceed to our final speaker, which is Linda Jansova. We had to change the speaker because Vitek Richter wasn't available today, but I believe we have more than sufficient person to replace him. Again, in case there are some questions on any presentation that was already presented, please write them or to chat or Q&As. And I will pass the word on Linda. I see that she's sharing her screen already, so
thank you very much. I hope you can hear me all right. Is it okay? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I will be speaking about reading in the Czech Republic. Of course, it is a huge topic, so I will only touch upon some projects and some surveys. First of all, I would like to say that I actually work for the National Library of the Czech Republic, and so does my boss, Vít Richter, who should have been speaking originally. And both of us also represent the Association of Library and Information Professionals of the Czech Republic. So, first of all, I will mention some reading surveys that have taken place, and then I will proceed to national projects focused on reading. So when it comes to reading surveys, the Czech Republic regularly participates in international surveys, especially PIRLS and PISA. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those surveys. PIRLS stands for Progress in International Reading Literacy, and PISA is Program for International Student Assessment. So these are actually surveys that really kind of measure what students or pupils can read or other things, how they perform at school. It is actually the Czech School Inspectorate that organizes our country's participation in these surveys. And I would like to mention a couple of results or findings from the 2018 PISA survey. It has been found out that Czech pupils are actually, when it comes to reading, rather average when compared to other OECD countries that participated in that survey back in 2018. What is also worth noting is that about 20% of pupils actually achieved the lowest score. And if you compare the previous surveys with this one, then you can find out that actually there is a slightly increasing trend. So more and more pupils tend to achieve the lowest score, which is not very good, of course. Also, what has been found out is that Czech pupils are better at working with a set of texts rather than in reading comprehension, which is also a finding that deserves probably further discussion and some action to be taken. Maybe Ule has already been speaking about girls and boys, and So this 2018 survey has found out that girls achieved significantly better results than boys when it comes to reading. So it's probably an international issue. So these have been the international surveys, and since 2007, the National Library organizes national reading surveys together with the Institute of Czech Literature, which is part of the Czech Academy of Sciences. And the first survey was actually focused on adults, so 15 plus, and then in 2010, 2013, and 2018, follow-up surveys took place. And also we have some interesting results from surveys of children's reading. These were carried out in 2013 and 2014. That was one survey, and then later on in 2017, the second survey of children's reading followed. While the first one was focused on children aged 6 to 14, the second one was kind of extended, so children aged 6 to 19 took part in the survey. When it comes to the number of respondents or participants in the surveys, basically it's 1,000 or 2,000. Sometimes it's hundreds of participants. So it is in all cases these are representative samples of the Czech population. While the international PISA and Pearls surveys focused on really reading skills, these surveys conducted by the National Library focus rather on what I would say is not really the skill itself or the skill set itself, but rather it's reading behavior, motivation to read. It also focuses on how people acquire books or how they use library services. So it's actually what surrounds the process of reading itself. Now let me mention some of the interesting results. So from the 2018 survey, I can mention that 78% participants actually said that they read at least one book per year, 44% buy at least one book per year, and 28% visits the library at least once per year. So it is pretty good, one would say, maybe with the exception of the library visits. Also, it appears that Czech citizens are probably not exactly avid readers on average, but we can say that an average Czech citizen, adult citizen, reads 12.5 books per year, buys 2.6 books per year, reads 31 minutes per day, and has quite a significant number of books at home. On average, it is 253, which is quite a large number. Now, when we move to the 2017 survey focused on children and youth, we can say that 87% of children receive books as gifts, which is a pretty good number, I would say. Also, what has been found out is that the more educated the parents are, the more likely they regularly read to their children. So there is a very important. It is very important what the parents do, because it influences their children very much. Also, 68% of children have learned about the public library from their parents, relatives, or siblings. So this is also a very important role for the family to play. And 22% have found out about the library when they visited it with their teachers. So this is not the role of the family, but rather of school. In 2021, another survey took place. It was focused on children and the youth aged 6 to 19, and it was actually conducted after the first year of the pandemic. So it is interesting that the percentage of children, and especially teenagers, that appreciate the importance of reading for learning has increased, which is of course a positive development. However, children, the younger children aged 6 to 14, so for them the reading is more likely to be something that their parents want them to do rather than something they would like to do themselves. Also in 2021, a survey of adult internet population was carried out, and in this case it was, as the year suggests, it was a survey that focused on the pandemic and possible changes of behavior as a result of the pandemic or during the pandemic, and this survey had also some interesting results. Apart from the number of books read or the number of books bought, obviously mostly from e-shops rather than from brick and mortar stores. The survey found out that the pandemic actually did not change the respondents' reading frequency or buying habits, which is rather surprising. There has been a small increase in the number of books read by avid readers, but it was really a small change compared to the previous surveys. Also, what is interesting is that the pandemic had basically no impact on children's reading frequency. So it is the same for children and adults. From the library point of view, I can mention that although libraries provided open digital libraries during the pandemic, not that many people were aware of it. So especially those who took part in the survey. So it is rather a pity that the digital libraries were open for to enable people get to books online, but not that many actually used it. Also during the pandemic, slightly more than 30% of all respondents didn't like the fact that libraries were closed, but a slightly higher number, 36%, just didn't mind. Here you can see book jackets from some of the surveys, because the results of the surveys are shared via various means, journal articles, lectures, and also print books. book jacket you can see on the right side is actually not published yet, but it's ready to be launched in the coming weeks at the end of May. In my presentation, I have also included links to more information, both about the international surveys and about the national ones. Now I will move to the second part of my presentation, in which I will briefly introduce a couple of national projects which are organized or implemented, carried out by the Association of Library and Information Professionals of the Czech Republic, which is actually the largest professional association in our country. It comprises of over 800 institutional members, meaning libraries, and about 1,000 individual members. I will mention about 7 projects. There are 2 projects on this slide which are highlighted in bold, and these are Night with Andersen and Children's Book Day. These are projects that actually take place during 1 or 2 days each year, while all the other projects are longer in duration. Typical duration is several months, and some of them are almost all year. So these are projects that involve a number of activities. It's not just something that happens during one day and it's over. Start Life with a Book is actually a Czech version of the originally British Book Start project, which started in the UK back in 1992. We joined with our project in 2018. And it is a project which focuses on showing parents of young children how important reading is for their children, for their intellectual and emotional development, and also for their future employment. And obviously, it is also something that helps them in the beginnings of the reading process. This project focuses on children aged 0 to 6. So when the child comes to this world, then it is eligible to take part in the project. So the first gift, a motivation package, is given to newborn's parents, and then there is a second package which is given away to parents or to parents of children when they reach another milestone, when they turn 3. It also includes, among other things, invitation to the library and other stuff. Currently, over 270 libraries participate in this project. So now we are moving forward to children who are slightly older. We have a project which is called I Am Already a Reader, book for first grader. This is a project which started back in 2008, and its goal is to help pupils develop their reading habits from first grade of primary school. The first graders actually come to the library. There's a library tour prepared for them. They take part in that tour. They engage in readings, get to know interesting books. They work hard to master their reading skills, obviously both in school and in the library. And There is also a final celebration, which usually takes place in June. And during this final celebration, pupils are knighted. They become Knights of the Reader's Order, and they received a book which is written and published especially for them. This is a book which cannot be republished or put on the book market for at least 3 subsequent years after it is given to the first graders. Currently, over 550 libraries and 800 schools participate. So it is also an interesting example of collaboration between libraries and schools. So in this case, cultural and educational sector comes together. Now I would like to briefly mention the Night with Andersen, which is a project that does not take place solely in the Czech Republic, but also in many other countries, such as the United Kingdom, France, Denmark, Canada, US, New Zealand, etc. It is a project which started 22 years ago as a project of a single library in Uherské Hradiště, which is a town in Moravia. And right after the first year, 40 more libraries joined. And now the project is so huge that over 1,600 libraries and other organizations, not only libraries, participate, and about 100,000 children actually participate in the project. The project itself consists of activities in the library, which usually take place in the afternoon. Children read together with librarians, they enter competitions, enjoy pillow fighting, go out for a night tour, etc. And then they spend the night in the library. So it is a kind of adventure for children. And it usually takes place at the end of March or in early April, so that it coincides with Andersen's birthday. A smaller project which only takes place in the Czech Republic is called Where the World Ends. It is a project which also started in the year 2000, and it focuses on supporting reading in children together with promoting reading in general, and it also kind of supports and promotes activities of children's departments in libraries. Currently, about 60 libraries do participate in this project. If you wish to hear a little bit about gaming, then Pearl Hunters is a project that may be interesting for you. It is a project which started 12 years ago in Hradec Králové City Library, and its goal is to support children's reading using game elements. Actually, the procedure is the following. Librarians prepare a list of books, then children choose books from this list, they read them, and then they answer questions about the selected books. And once they deliver the answers, they are given a pearl, a bead, and if they read enough, they can create a pearl necklace of their own. And also there are so-called morions, which are like coins or money to buy things at a special market, and it's something extra they receive if they answer optional questions about the books in question. It is a project in which currently more than 300 libraries participate. The next project has an interesting title, Turning School Upside Down, or Škola na ruby in Czech. Its beginnings can be traced back to 2008, and this project focuses on supporting reading, especially reading aloud in the family, so that children's parents read to their children actually every day. So in other words, the project's main activity is home reading, and the children involved in the projects, they receive a record book, which is provided by the library. And in this record book, they jot down who has read to them, how long the reading took, and how well their parents or other carers actually did. And parents meet together in the library several times a year, and they share their experiences from the reading. Sometimes there are really you can find really funny stories or rather remarks in the record books, like that parents have fallen asleep during reading, etc. Currently, tens of libraries participate, and more tend to join. In 2006, Děčín City Library started another interesting project called Children's Book Day. A year later, other libraries joined, and now tens of libraries participate, and it is a project which actually is based on activities in the library. It takes place usually in late November. And the goal of the project is to support children's reading, to promote quality children's books. Also, because it takes place in pre-Christmas time, its goal is to persuade parents to give children books as Christmas presents, and also, the parents can spend a relaxing day in the library. Also, there tends to be an offer of children's books, so they can buy them, and they can then go home and think that library is really a place where everyone can join various activities or attend various events. So it is definitely a place to go. So far, I have been speaking about projects organized by the Association of Library and Information Professionals of the Czech Republic, but obviously we are not the only organization in the Czech Republic which carries out projects focused on the promotion of reading. I have chosen four more projects and organizations that also focus on this topic. One of them is Reading Helps. The other one mentioned on this slide is Every Czech Reads to Kids. Then we have a project entitled We Grow with a Book. Or there is also an interesting project which is actually kind of imported from the US. It is called Reading and Writing for Critical Thinking, which is more and more important nowadays. All these projects are organized by other bodies, but most of them in one way or another collaborate with libraries. So, final remarks. I would like to mention that apart from conducting surveys focused on reading, the National Library also conducts a survey of age, salary, and educational structure of library workers in the Czech Republic. And what is interesting is that in the last survey, 71% of respondents actually said that reading literacy is the most important topic in lifelong learning. The respondents were from Republic libraries. So apart from the importance of reading in society in general, it is also an important topic for librarians themselves, that they feel the need to learn more and to learn more about how to best promote reading. Also, what is interesting is that the strategy for development of libraries in the Czech Republic, which Tomáš Řehák has already been speaking about, this strategy. So this strategy actually mentions that a national program to support reading and reading literacy should come into existence. So we will see whether we will be successful in this. So last but not least, if you are interested in downloading or viewing the slides, you can find them via tinyurl.com/Czech-reading, or you can scan the QR code on the right side of the screen. And this is the very last slide, and I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I still can't see any questions, comments, remarks in the chat.
But Ule raises his hand.
Okay.
Yes, that was really interesting. A lot of nice projects going on. I just have a question about Bookstart.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a pilot in Norway where we connect health centers with libraries and received some funding now to develop it here in Norway. How do you organize it, and what is your experiences so far?
Mm-hmm. It is, most of these projects are kind of centrally organized or implemented, but it is up to each library to decide the particulars. So, for example, when it comes to Bookstart, some libraries, for example, Ostrava City Library, in this library, they have managed to really go to hospitals and to maternity wards and give the books and the whole sets away right to the mothers, say a day or two after their babies were born. So this is one example. In some cases, city halls or town halls organize special welcome sessions for the newborns. So they use this opportunity to give the packages to the parents. In some cases, they give it to parents on library premises, but it also depends on how big the library building is, whether it can accommodate more parents and children at the same time. So it really depends on local conditions, and every library decides for itself which is the best option. So I hope I have answered all parts of your question. Is there anything else I should add?
How is the experience is good? Do you have any data on it?
well, actually, I think we do have some data, but you have seen that we have really a lot of projects, and so each project has its own coordinator who knows all the details. But you can find more information on the website, which has been mentioned in the slides. So far, I think that that it has been really praised by a number of, say, external parties, so people who are not directly involved in the project, but for example, by politicians, doctors, etc. So I think it's just the reception is really positive, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we are a little bit behind the schedule, but I think we still, I can see the question in the chat. Are there any age limits in the teenagers book prize you have been talking about? It's for Ole, the question.
Yeah, the children involved is youth in the primary school, which is grade 8, 9, and 10th in Norway. And the books are for age group 13 to 16. So it's not young adult, it's just youth books. And it's primary fiction books. Is that the answer?
Yes.
Great.
Any other questions? No, I think.
Well, in case...
Kariana.
Great.
Thank you for interesting presentations. After you talked, Eliška, about the SDGs in the Czech Republic, you said something that I don't think I have a question, but more of reflection, because you said that it's important to empower libraries as pioneers to achieving the goals. And you also said that maybe you don't have the same government ruling to achieve the goals. But I think that we are similar in the way we work. Like you say, the empowerment of libraries and the possibility to promote the libraries as sustainable, because we know, I think libraries often know that we work in that matter, but not always is the society or the politicians or the governing boards in municipalities or counties aware of that in the same sense. And so my reflection is that maybe it's not organized quite the same way, but I do think we may work in similar ways to achieve the SDGs.
Yes, thank you. I completely agree. I mean, like, it's really nice, and I maybe envy a little bit to you that you are supported by the government, and that government is already asking and putting you into strategic documents. But at the same time, I believe that we have to work bottom up. We have to empower the people, that this is nothing that can come from above and to be installed to our minds. We still have to work with the libraries, librarians, and the people there. Yeah. Thank you.
Ole?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the right setting, but which part does school libraries play in Czech, and how is that organized? Is it included in strategies and so
on? Tomáš?
I might be trying to answer that question. It's difficult. As I mentioned, the libraries belong to the Ministry of Culture. However, school libraries are part of the schools. The schools are completely responsible for running the library, and the schools, of course, respond to the ministry. Well, they respond to the local municipalities first of all, but they are in a way managed by the Ministry of Education. So if you look at the Library Act of Czech Republic, you wouldn't find anything about school libraries, because that law or that act is in the responsibility of the Ministry of Culture. Therefore, the school libraries are mentioned in the School Act, but there is no connection between the public libraries and school libraries officially or legally. One things we want to do because we are now trying to push some amendments to the Library Act is that the public library, especially the big public libraries, should cooperate with with school libraries and support them somehow. But that's not so easy, because it will cross the competencies of the ministries. That's the first point to be said. Second is that I know few schools running really marvelous school libraries. I even know one small village school, and it's one of the best village schools in the whole country. You know, that school actually has 2 times more pupils than the municipality has inhabitants. Because kids from quite large surrounding is actually trying to get into that school, even from the district center, from the district city, which is 20 kilometers away, something like that. So the people from the quite big city are coming to the village school every day. And this school is running the school library the way they decided to open it for the public, like and actually the school, including the pupils, are running public library for not only the municipality, but it's open to everybody. So I know few such schools, and I would probably count them on my fingers. Then there are some schools running some kind of library, which could actually serve the purpose. It would be one room with some books, especially those which are part of the curriculum. And then I'm afraid that I would say that the majority of schools run either no school library at all, or they run something which I wouldn't call library even in my direst dreams. Because it's not only one, it's not even one room, it's probably one bookshelf or some cabinet full of dusty old books which nobody cares about. But because according to some regulations, they should have a school library, so they have the cabinet, yeah, something like that.
Thank you. We are losing attendees also, and we'll have to leave. So I would like to thank to all of the presenters, all of the guests, and yeah, again, thank you for your sharing. Thank you for your insights, and I personally look forward to meet you again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So do I. So do I. See you in Oslo.
You will see us in Oslo.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And many thanks to Eliška, Veronica, and Annie for her efforts.
Yeah.
Their efforts. Yeah, thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.